I've always been a really big advocate for the Hitman series, particularly the most recent World of Assassination trilogy. The last game to come out was Hitman 3, which came out over a year ago already now, believe it or not, and I had made a review on the game when it first came out, but I haven't really talked anything Hitman related since, and I was itching to play the game again and have a little fun, so I figured why not make a quick little video on it as well, for those who haven't tried this game yet. This is also likely the last Hitman game we'll be getting for a while. As we all know, IO Interactive's next project is going to be a James Bond game, which sounds great. I can't wait for that, and I think that's the perfect studio to make a 007 game. But the new Hitman trilogy is really underrated in my opinion, even though I think many people have come to appreciate the games, especially since Hitman 2 and 3. And of course, it's not just Hitman 3 that's great in particular, it's the whole trilogy, since the games are pretty much the same, with the sequels just having more maps and levels, along with some slightly upgraded graphics. So you could really consider the trilogy as a whole as one big Hitman game. You can even play the Hitman missions and story from the first two games on Hitman 3 as well, so I definitely recommend all three if you haven't tried this series yet. I believe this game is a must for people who love stealth games like me. But what makes Hitman 3 so great exactly? Well, for me, one of the biggest things is the amount of freedom the game gives you. There's a lot of games these days that claim or advertise complete freedom and allow you to play the game however you want, but I feel Hitman is one of the few games that actually delivers on that. Every mission is really an open sandbox where you're given targets and just set free in the world, and you can approach and kill the targets however you like. There's almost an endless amount of ways a mission can go, and they're all designed to have tons of replayability. There's mission threads you can follow if you want to get good opportunities to kill targets in unique or creative ways. I love the amount of creativity the game allows for. There's so many different weapons, some are absolutely ridiculous, like going on a murdering spree with a banana. I really love being able to drop a plan in my head before the mission, plan out the tools and disguises necessary to execute it, and actually getting to play it out in the mission. There's something so satisfying about the process, and the freedom to create and execute your own plans is really rewarding. There's tons of tools and weapons at your disposal that support the freedom of the mission design as well, and allow for those creative kills. And of course, the replayability allows you to do this multiple times over, and with the scoring system and it keeping time, it gives you incentive to try and get the highest score possible or get a really fast time in the mission. I've seen some crazy speed runs through these games that look really impressive and are a ton of fun to watch, which is how I would describe these games. They're just fun. It's not overly complex. In fact, the concept is very simple. You're a hitman, go kill this target and that target, but the freedom and creative potential, along with the hundreds of different ways to play, is what makes this such a special series and differentiates it from many other stealth games. The levels make great playgrounds, tons of opportunities, the immersion and atmosphere is incredible with all the NPCs and live events going on in real time throughout the level. The first mission on Dubai is one of the coolest introductions to a game. Each level also looks vastly different. There are so many unique environments and scenarios you're thrust into, and the levels each have a different look and feel to it. And with Hitman 3 in particular, I know some people don't like this mission, but I personally really enjoyed the Apex Predator mission, where you have to infiltrate a nightclub out in the middle of the woods, identify the undercover ICA agents, and execute them. It's one of the few missions that strays from that normal target assassination, and I thought it was a really cool idea and introduced some variety to the game. Your process has to be different because you're not exactly sure who among the possible targets are ICA agents. And then trying to isolate them and take them out quietly while you're listening in on comms is challenging but also really cool. Some people didn't like how it changed up the usual formula, but I really enjoyed it personally. Now obviously Hitman 3 didn't introduce a ton of new features when compared to the first two games, but the way the game is designed and the fact that there are so many different ways to play it means it rarely gets repetitive, even if there aren't a ton of new features. And of course there's a handful of new levels to play through as well. Now most people don't really care much about the story when it comes to these games. It's really all about the gameplay, but the storytelling improved significantly in Hitman 3. It was darker, more brutal, and of course we had actual mo-capped cutscenes, which we didn't have in Hitman 2. So the story definitely felt more prevalent, and while it's still not the best, I actually found myself a lot more engaged in it than I was during the first two games. And you can could actually feel the presence of the story during some of the missions, the last few especially. The Hitman games are definitely great for people who love stealth games, especially since I feel we don't get quite as many modern stealth games anymore. It's also worth mentioning you can actually play all 3 games on PC or PlayStation VR as well, which looks really fun. I actually have a Quest 2, so I might check that out sometime. Let me know if you guys want to see a video of me messing around with that. But if you've played the Hitman games, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments. And if you haven't, maybe let me know if this video persuaded you to try them out. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you considered leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.